Hello everybody and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford and Celtic rescue with a late victory. Jenz gets the second goal. Oh wait, there was a third goal as well. I forgot about that, lads. My name's Ryan, JP and Jason with us this episode, obviously for Ross County. Well lads, as I says, supposedly Celtic rescued a victory because we were supposed to be shite, Jason. By my books, we were all right. Didn't really come out of second gear. Ross County had maybe one chance, basically, and they scored it. Apart from that, Celtic were comfortable. Plenty of shots, plenty of possession. Just stuff it to break them down. That's really all it was, and missed a few chances. But, Jason, I hope you had a good weekend, mate, and also a good result to end the weekend.
Good evening, lads. It's been a good weekend. If that's us playing shite, then fuck me, by the way. He's not. I thought we controlled, they dominated the full game. Do you know what I mean? I think at one point we had 85% possession. They went up the park once for a set piece, scored for it, and it was just one of the ones. And another day that could have been 4 or 5. I thought, as I say, I thought we were dominant the full game. We played some really, really nice football. I also think that this whole thing that we had last year, we showed that can only play for 45 minutes, has been firmly put to bed, because that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing us playing for 90 minutes and probably no more. But all in all, very, very comfortable 3 points, and we'll go on to next week now.
For me, JP, like Jason says, I thought it was comfortable. One or two were being at the moments when you're one each, you're thinking, right, is this maybe we're going to slip up here? But you're always confident when you Celtic go behind, or it's kind of nip and tuck. You still believe they're going to win the game, and even at one each yesterday, I'm still thinking, settle down, we'll get a goal. Obviously, not every game we're going to win. Sometimes these games can turn into draws and be a bit of a banana skin, sorry. But I just thought we were comfortable, like Jason says, with a lot of possession, a lot of chances. Can't really criticise the performance, to be honest with you. You went away from home, you scored 3 goals. I'd maybe not kept a clean sheet. If you were being too greedy and want to be perfect, a clean sheet would have been ideal. But you've won the game, came away from a hard venue with a team who are stuffy, done well in the recruitment. So I would say it's I don't want to say perfect, but it's just about a good, very, very, very good result for us anyway.
Definitely. Good evening, lads. Hope you've had a nice weekend. As you can tell by my voice, I've had a belter. So, no, you're spot on, right? You're up against a physical side, a team that's always going to make it difficult for you, especially in their home park. Listen, we're the champions, right? Everybody's going to back pity us, and they're going to be the one that wants to get the first scalp on us and first sort of bragging rights about like stopping us getting 3 points, and that's what a lot of the time we've got to face this season, to be honest with you, mate, no matter who it is. And this Celtic team seem to have a wee bit more about them now, Ryan, in terms of seem to have a lot of answers, a lot of firepower. They seem to be finding a way now how to unlock doors. And maybe last season at this time of the season when we're still trying to stick our team together and put things together, we might have come unstuck, and that's how you see us lost for 3 out of the first 6 games of last season. But no, this time around you can see the difference in this Celtic team, mate. Unfortunately, I didn't see the game yesterday, so I've seen a lot of the highlights, I've read the stats, I've read things about the game, and the passages I played for, obviously you see on the highlights. It doesn't matter whether it be Ross County or mob across the bar. I think we would have beat MD comfortably at the sort of tempo we played at. It goes to one each. People are looking at, oh, here we go. You're right, Ryan. Settled down a wee bit. This Celtic team have got a lot more about them. And I think they showed that again yesterday. I know we're being written off with quite a lot of the media again. I heard a certain individual coming away with at one each, or this will finish a draw. 8 minutes later, it was a cut Broadfoot moment. He ended up with egg in his face. So Aye. I like seeing things like that happening to people because it disappoints their day, you know, and they can be unhappy and raging that their stupid wee predictions don't come in the fort. As a Celtic team, I think I says, I've got a lot of answers, and I think a lot of people need to start taking notice of what's going on, because if they don't, they're going to be in for a long, long season.
For me, JP, you're right. Listen, we've all got our opinion in football. Some pundits think Rangers are a better team. They're going to predict that. Fair enough. All get opinions, and obviously we've got to respect that. But when you're looking at last year, how we were and how we've started this season, we've not even started really yet. We've not came to the boil yet for what we've seen. But again, I just think the way we play, it might take a few games, and then again, like I still believe, I'm not going to say we're going to beat a team 10, 11, nothing, but we're going to take an absolute doing off somebody. I think it's going to be 6 or 7. We're going to do somebody, I mean, proper doing. Obviously, I'd love that every game, but we all know football doesn't happen because you're no divine right win any game of football. But I think especially at Parkhead this year, I think there's going to be a lot of goals, a lot of corners, a lot of just basically a lot of attacking football. Even yesterday, we weren't at our best, but you're still getting loads of shots, possession, corners. And that's because obviously Ross County, the way they try to play, we were just basically entrapping them. But you've got to be what's in front of you. And Jason, like JP says, you would think people would learn in Scotland when they're making predictions. It's your predictions. But if you're looking at the two teams, you've looked at last year and what Celtic done, considering, like JP says and you says, the first 5 to 6 games, it was basically a puzzle. The team was just all over the place. It was like fucking Scrabble. You didn't have a fucking clue what was turning up every week. But you could see what was happening with the team. Even the game against Hearts, there was parts of that play in the game you thought, by the way, the football's good here. It was just one of the games against Hearts. But somewhat in a row, I think, Jason, we've not started amazingly, but some of the football and the passages of play, even yesterday, it was superb. I just think that I don't know when people are going to start learning and watching football. I'm not going to say people are not watching football games properly, but take away like your Celtic specs, Rangers specs, Aberdeen specs, just look at the guys on the park. And if you're trying to say to me that you think that Rangers team at their best are better than Celtic, your best, as it stands at the moment, might be your opinion, but I really don't agree with Jason, because just look at that game yesterday as well. Celtic didn't come out of second gear. I'm hearing from my Rangers pals, supposedly they were honking yesterday. I didn't see the game, obviously. Supposedly they were honking, and that's them been honking a lot in the last 3 or 4 games. I've not been playing well, so don't know when people are going to learn, Jason, but I don't know if it's going to be another treble, another double, another league victory. League one, it's going to get them to learn, because they need to start learning soon.
No, they've no learned for the last 12 years, so I don't think it will happen anytime soon. But if anybody thinks that Rangers team is better than the Celtic team, then they're in fucking cloud cuckoo land, in my opinion. Because
I'm thinking about embarrassed. He's like the fucking cuckoo, the lot of them.
You look at it, but I mean, I look at that. I mean, I'm just going looking at our team, right? And as you say, we've not started well, but we're still completely dominating teams. Do you know what I mean? Jota, I'm running out of words to use to describe this guy. I don't think I've not been this excited, but I don't remember a player getting me off my seat as much as this since Lubo. That's what I think. But mate, the media will never learn. They said on a certain show that they had bent 50-50 with who was going to win the league. Again, that's not what I seen. I seen them all siding with one team to win the league. I don't know what evidence they've got to back it up that we're not going to win the league. But as we say, we'll just never talking on the pitch. That's what we do. That's what happened last year and all, when you had certain players coming out saying, "Oh, it's a bit unfair to say all that, blah blah blah," but we'll do our talking on the pitch. But I'm looking forward. I can't see it going any other way apart from us winning this league. I think them across the water, they've got a lot. Their team's still to gel. Do you know what I mean? They've signed a lot of players. I don't know if they've went on that premises. The fact that they've signed 9 players, they're also going to be better. I don't know, right? But they also lost 2 of their first team regulars in Rebo and in Big Shirley. So that then they've got this other boy at left back who I was speaking to one of my mates today. Said he didn't really play that well, but he needs time to come in. As I say, I was speaking to one of my mates in my football team the day he was at the game, and he just said it was another frustrating day. It was Kilmarnock nearly scored. I don't think they're not fully convinced on their goalkeeping situation either. But that's problems that we don't need to worry about. But yeah, we're shite, so but I know, apparently.
I'd probably say that's probably a big downfall, Jason. Obviously, listen, we're Celtic fans. People don't might not want you to talk about a lot of Rangers and whatever else. Listen, I'm still a football fan in the day. And if you see a weakness in a team, I would mention it. And I do believe, I've always said, Zach McGregor was a world-class goalkeeper. He's still a decent goalie for his age, but I'm really surprised they've not got a number one. John McLaughlin.
That is McLaughlin, isn't it? He said that.
He's a decent goalkeeper, McLaughlin. I watched open goal with Ian McGeady. Ian McGeady did say, he says, he's a good goalkeeper, etc. But you see me the way he was talking.
Well, did you see what he done yesterday?
No, I've not seen any.
You see it, JP? He went to play the ball out and he's fucking kicked it right to the Kilmarnock player and they nearly scored it. That's what they're saying.
By watching McGeady's interview, you could tell he was basically saying, he's decent, he's done well for Sunderland, but he's no number one goalkeeper. But on to us, JP, Joe Hart, for me, again, 2 or 3 good saves yesterday. That one, obviously, after the save as well in the second half, he's fucking pushing out the way. We didn't get that with Scott Bain, Barkas. Even in previous goalkeepers, we've never had that before. He's committed, he's solid. Listen, this is what I want to say as well. I know some fans need to prepare for us to lose a silly goal here and there because of the way we are playing football. Either Joe Hart take the ball or he's Vickers passed it back, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen at some time. It nearly happened in a pre-season friendly recently. It's going to be happening on move stuff, and it's probably going to happen in Europe. And we're probably going to get on the fucking papers. Joe Hart does this, but you know what? Like he says, that'll be something for him to cling on to. If that happens, it'll be papers. Fucking Joe Hart probably at the back of the paper and all that. It's the headlines are written already. It's just waiting for it to fucking happen. But for me, JP, like Jason says, mate, Jota, I've said he's the best player in Scotland. Obviously, for me, all round, I would say it's probably Cal McGregor, but it's just for that special talent for somebody who's going to go probably right to the top, in my opinion. It's Jota. Again, it's just an opinion. He could get bad injuries, something could happen. He might not get to where he might be. That's football. But as it stands now, mate, we all know my opinion. Jota, I think he's the best player in Scotland. Yesterday, that passage of play between him and Greg Taylor yesterday was unbelievable. They're starting to click now as well. I know people listen to the podcast or I think praising Greg Taylor. Listen, I've always said if Greg Taylor was continuing to play well, I'll say, do you know what? He's doing well. I'm not going to criticise him because him and Jota are like not very, very well. And I do prefer Jota playing in the left. And then I don't want to criticise Maeda because he's running ability and his fitness and the way we play, it suits us to a T. But I think after that goal yesterday as well, Abada's got to start next week. He's got to start next week because he's been cloud 9 now, he'll be confident. But Jota on the left for me and Abada on the right. I did say for the first Aberdeen, I thought that's the way he would play because I do prefer Abada for his creativity and his goals. And I just think for me, Jota is unbelievable, JP. I'm like Jason, I can't. How that mob across the water can say Ryan Kent's in the level to near him is just it's scary. It's really scary. I'm not going to criticise your opinions because I respect their opinion, but I really don't agree with me, not at all.
Aye, mate. Jota is unbelievable. He's one of the type of players you'll see one in every 10, 15 years in football, Scottish football. Yep. He's different class. the things he can do with a ball in real life, some guys can't even do it with a PS4 controller. It's honest to God, it's like some of the wee ball, the movements. I wouldn't like to see the amount of buttons you need to press on the PS4 controller to see how you even do one of them moves. You must need to press about 400 types of codes in, and with the arrows and everything else that you've got to use to even try do his flicks, let alone. But it's frightening, absolutely frightening. The one for Kyogo's goal, when he goes by the boy pulls out the challenge because it's that's a penalty. See, I bet that last week, I know the one he scores off it. The boy was ready to hit him, and he's just that fast. You think you've got him, and you go on and off, no go at him, and you've got to pull out it. Either that, you take him out, you get a penalty away or a foul. He's just that quick that, as I say, it's frightening. And you mentioned him earlier, Ryan, Greg Taylor. I can't praise the boy enough for him, mate, because he looks like he's took his game on another level. In my opinion, it looks like he's upped his game. Now, whether that be Bernaby signing, it's now got him to work harder and whatever. I don't mean work harder. I know he was working hard, but maybe he knows in his own head, I've got to be on it all the time here. Because if I'm not, there's somebody else here wanting a game. So I think that's a good thing, I know. Pugaranovich looked a wee bit better yesterday if you want to see the highlights. There was one, he was unlucky. He tries a beautiful ball with the outside, he's right foot, right to O'Reilly's head. O'Reilly's unlucky, he just never got enough purchase on it to direct it goal as it goes by the post. I noticed a wee spell in the highlights as well with when we've not got the ball in, it's the speed, the tempo and the press that we put on teams. Teams here don't live with that. They can't. Because see, I don't mean to be rotten right now. I know they're professionals and there's different levels to professional. Malcolm Mackay says it in his post-match. We're up against the Champions League team today. That was his comments. I thought that was a nice compliment to Celtic. And that's what he says. He said, we had to be so direct there because you can't keep the ball dead long against Celtic because they'll just hound it off you. And that's what I saw. As soon as we lost the ball, bang. It's as if they've been timed or something, or they've been told you've only got so long to get the ball back. And it's not just one of them, Ryan. It's 2 and 3 packs of them. Bang. Right at it. I think it was one for the third goal. It was Giacomakis, Taylor, and me, McGregor, all closing in the same ball. And then Abada comes in and nips in and plays a wee passage. And then, calling me Abada, Ryan, the wee man's outstanding. I think he's brilliant. I would like to see him play a bit more centrally because he's very dangerous, Ryan. Very dangerous. So you even remember back to the St Johnstone game when he was playing as a striker. He was central when he scored his goals. Was it the Ross County game up there? Well, he's through the middle for a cutback, scores a goal, he put his 1-0 up before they get the equaliser.
Right, yep.
That was the night where Anthony Ralston scored the 98th minute when there was only 6 minutes had he gone, remember? There was an uproar about that and all, mind. But it was that game where Abada's through the middle. I think it was at St Mirren. Was it St Mirren they scored or not? It was similar last season. Again, away from home, he's through the middle. The game at February, Parkhead, the 3-0 game against him. Crossover. Again, he makes his run for wide and he's through the middle. Murrow, third part. Hatate cuts the ball across. He's in the box, through the middle, central. I think he's dangerous, Ryan. Very dangerous, more central. I'd like to see that option a wee bit more. Yesterday, unbelievable. The bend they put on that away for the goalie. And by the way, he's a big goalkeeper, Laidlaw. So it's not easy to do that to him. And they put the curl away from him, which was lovely. it was good to see Kyogo getting a goal. I thought he took his goal really well. I know he had a couple of half chances against Aberdeen last week. So he wasn't really in the game effectively the way we know Kyogo can play. But yesterday I thought he was well involved in terms of that goal. There was a couple of wee passes I played where he was knocking the ball half, line at half, couple of wee chest downs, and so no, this is how much we've come on, lads. We're actually sitting here saying, well, we've not got out of second gear, we've not done this, we've not done that. That's quite scary considering I think for time Angie's been there and now the level we're at now as a squad. I think that's the most important thing as well. It's well the squad are in terms of strength, depth. You look at big boy Jenz coming in for his debut. See Big Laidlaw track saver, he'd have been in a coma. That's a scud missile.
Oh, it was
frightening.
Absolutely.
The way he attacked the ball. The defenders, people do, how the defenders know they better. See the fucking height he got up. I'd have been like that one.
No defender was getting to that.
I'd have been like one of my centre halves. Hi, go on you get him, man. Know what I mean? Fucking size him. Big lump of a boy. Then he jumps in among the Celtic crowd behind the goal. Brilliant. That was just the raw emotion off the boy I picked up on straight away. I went, big man loves it. Straight away, he's new, but he's confident enough to do that. You know, that's his first proper start for the team. Scores, means everything to him. Yes, laid down a marker, myself, bang, right into the score, right into this. That's how you announce yourself to the support guys.
Aye.
That's what you do. And see that emotion you got off him, doing all that and this with the badge, and that's what I want to see. Because you know that's a guy that's going to give his all. When things get hard and you become back to the work kind of stuff, they're the kind of guys you want to go to the trenches with and dig you out a hole. Because they score vital goals like that when you're needing rescued.
Aye, definitely, mate. When you're needing rescued, you get a big guy over 6 foot to score you a bullet either. For me, Jason, like JP says, Kyle goes well. Obviously, not everybody looks at the game and stats or movement, etc. Right? But see if you actually look at Kyogo's movement for his goal, I'm not saying he's like Messi here, but I'm just saying the way Messi plays. Messi just drifts in and out of space. He knows what he's doing. He doesn't run, he doesn't jog, he just walks about, drifts into space because see if you look at the goal for Kyogo, just watch his movement. He's looking about, he knows where he's gone, but he's walking or he's kind of fast walking into positions where he's gone. And then when he sees Jota again, he's bolting and he's there for the tap-in. It's so clever, man. And you don't realise that until you actually look at the game properly. If you dissect it and you look at the movements and the play, and his movement's phenomenal, man. But it sounds daft, but he didn't really move in a way. It was just so clever what he'd done. He's as I say, for me, you've got Kyogo and Giacomakis, two phenomenal strikers in my opinion. Giacomakis, when he came on, I was actually calling for Giacomakis at half time. He came on.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I thought he was going to be one at half time. But I thought again, when he came on, you're not losing out. He's actually adding to the team again, because when he came on, like JP says, he was fighting for the ball. He won the ball back. I think it was for the third goal, him and Taylor. You're not losing out. Like, again, I'm not want to criticise my employees because I do think Ajeti will do well for somebody else. But see, by Ajeti one, you're not getting the same quality as Giacomakis. You're maybe getting a lesser squad impact. But when he's on, or Kyle goes on, whoever's can math and on, it doesn't matter because you're still getting quality. And that goal as well, Jason. Jota, like you said, Jota tucked in. Kyle, brilliant goal. But if you actually look at the 3 goals, Jason, 3 more quality goals. The passes I played for the 3 goals, obviously it's a ball in. The second goal, it's a quality header and delivery. That's the main thing. But the third goal, that's not what you spoke about enough for me. No. Abada's goal was tremendous down that side. And it's the fact that he's swivelled and he's noticed the fact that he's probably had the chance to look. He just knows where the goal is.
Yeah.
For me, I think Abada's very, very mature in a football in terms. I know he's I think he's about maybe 20, 21, 20. I think he's very, very, very young. But for his football maturity in certain aspects of his game, Jason, I think maybe his positional sense when it comes to defending maybe a wee bit better. But going forward, Jason, he's very, very, very good. And for me, again, I don't like selling my players because I want to keep my best players, but he's another one that if you're going to get money from, it's going to be a lot, because I don't see anybody in this squad, Jason, no going for decent amount of money, because they're all long contracts, and obviously your fringe players are different, but your main 14 to 15 guys every week who are playing, they're not going to go for fucking £1 million anymore. It's just not going to happen.
No. I think Abada is quite underrated and goes quite under the radar, actually, because obviously I think when Maeda came in, Abada sort of out of the squad. But if you look at, for instance, you look at Mikey Johnson and you look at Abada, that's the difference, man. That's the difference in a player. Abada's goal was class, mate. As you say, he knew where the goal was, and he's bent it right round into the bottom corner. It's unbelievable. Jota involved in all three. And then you've got Kyogo. I actually thought that game yesterday would have suited Big Giakoumakis for the start, to be honest with you. If he'd started Giakoumakis yesterday, I wouldn't have been annoyed, because I think that game, he's up against the two centre halves in that rush count. I think JP said that they're hard, and they're hard to break down, and I think that's the type of game that would have suited the big man. But I thought Ange brought him on at the right time. People were saying he brought him on at this, but I think he brought him on at the right time. When Ross County were starting to tire a wee bit, he brought him on, and he did change the game for me, because I think we were at that point. We were a wee bit stale. We were running out of ideas a wee bit. But I just think Kyogo, and I think as well, didn't get mentioned enough, man. He had the two of them on the same part yesterday. He had Kyogo and he went 2 up top yesterday, by the way.
He went for it.
So again, people say, but he's only got the one style of play. Well, there you go, because he's went 2 up top yesterday, and it's paid off. So I think, as Malcolm Mackay saying it was Champions League side, I would agree with that. I think the depth we've got in our squad now, that it's very refreshing that if people drop out, I know whoever's coming in is going to do a good job. Juranovic, I don't think he's had the greatest of starts. He was alright yesterday, but I think maybe next week at Kilmarnock away, maybe give Ralston a start, see if he can go. Because I think Ralston is just, again, I've said it to you before, if Juranovic gets injured and Ralston comes in, I'm totally alright with that. And Big Jenz, I know, it's just, again, it's just, wow, man, that header. I thought he's very, very comfortable with the ball with his feet, by the way. He's very good at playing it with the back. He's quite calm. But I also thought, when I seen, obviously, Welsh wasn't playing, then I found out that he wasn't well. I felt a bit sorry for him, because Welsh did play well against Aberdeen, I thought. But for me, I think Jenz gets into the team before him now, because I think he's more comfortable with a ball at his feet with him, what Welsh is. But that would be me being very, very picky. But I just thought yesterday, I just think going forward, I've said it before, one of these days, right, everything's going to click and we're going to take 10 off a team. I don't care, people can laugh at me for saying that, but it is going to happen. We're trying to be too cute now. Hey, it happened last week against Aberdeen, the final ball just wasn't there. Happened yesterday, the final ball just wasn't there. There's going to be one game where they're all going to come off and some poor team is going to get beat 10-0. Convinced it. Absolutely.
Well, it was similar like the last game last year against Motherwell. That was, I think it was 6-0-12. The amount of chances we missed.
They took 7 off St Johnstone last season.
Aye.
I'm saying, I think they'll be made of that this year, lads. I really do. But there will be games where it's going to be stuffy, and you might get a last-minute winner again, or you might draw a game. That's just football. We can't win every fucking game.
Brian, you can't, as you say, you can't win every game 7-8-0, and if you think that, and just because I were relentless going forward, it's hard to keep that intensity up for 90 minutes every single week. We've got the luxury now that we're not playing European qualifiers because we're already in the Champions League. But I think once we start playing in Europe, you might see the league form ever so slightly dipping, just because we're playing through the week, and that's where the rotation and all that will come in. But now I'm just enjoying the fact that we've got this week we've got the week in between games, and but I think that the team looks very, very fresh and really. I've never seen us this fit. I don't think I've ever seen a Celtic team this fit.
I think for me, it's similar. I keep getting back to the Rodgers era, JP, where you're turning up now, thinking. I know, as I said, you don't want to tempt fate and say, "Are we going to win by 4 or 5?" You just need to win the game. But under Rodgers, it was like, is it 3 a day? Is it 4? Is it 5? It's starting to get that way now, especially at Celtic Park. You're thinking, right, most times should I put a bet on it's over 2.5 goals or something. You're just thinking you're going to score a lot of goals, especially at home, like, because we're relentless going forward. But a big shout out to Jenz, obviously made his debut, JP. Thought he was very, very comfortable. Starfelt for me getting comfortable again on the ball. So you've got centre backs, Vickers, Jenz, Starfelt, three are comfortable on the ball. Freedom, obviously we're always talking through the last 2 games for Jenz, obviously his cameo role, and then starting. He looks comfortable. He looks like he can defend. He's got a bit of pace about him. His physique. He might be similar to Julian in a sense that he might be a guy that's going to get his headers for corners now. Mm-hmm. Somebody to fucking hit a target, because let's be fair, right? We're soft as fuck in the box for corners and free kicks. We're soft as fuck. We've not got a big mountain to come in and ruffle feathers up. And that yesterday is something we've been crying out for fucking years today. I think the last guy is maybe Van Dijk, maybe.
Julian.
Aye, Julian, but take away that for this squad, maybe Van Dijk's the last one.
Aye.
So Julian's obviously no in the squad as it stands. Bell's going to leave. It might seem that way he's going to be leaving. But it was good to see McCarthy back on the bench as well. So maybe we don't know what's happening with him. But on Big Jenz, JP, I thought I'm agreeing with Jason that I think he's been brought into play. He's only been brought in to be for third or fourth choice behind Welsh. I think he'll be playing. I do believe it'll be him and Starfelt that will be rotational. I think Vickers is probably going to be a mainstay. Obviously injuries and whatever else, and maybe rest and recovery due to the amount of games we're playing, because we are in the Champions League. That people don't really think that's a thing. It's all about Rangers, but hey, who will they talk in the park? But JP, I think Jenz is a solid addition what we've seen so far.
Yeah, he's a big frame of lad as well, and he looks very physical in certain aspects. And obviously yesterday he demonstrated he can go on the end of things to become an attacking threat as well for us. It looks like a good bit of business. I know it's early doors. That was his proper debut. The wee cameo role against Norwich, but he does look very comfortable with the ball, and he looks as if he can play with both feet as well. In terms of that sort of left centre back role, he looks like he can play with his left foot as well as he can with his right. He's got a fair turn of speed, Ryan. You picked up on that there as well. He looks as if he's the one the ref gives a foul and it's a yellow card. I personally don't even think it's a foul, let alone a booking. He more or less just stands his ground. Boy ran into him, knocks him over. But we're missing a key point here. Jenz wins the ball. He puts his feet on the ball. The lad carries through, pushes him over. Jenz gets a yellow card.
Very soft, very soft.
I'm actually wondering what he was yellow card. Right, if he was yellow carded for that, then surely his goal celebration's got to take him over the threshold of a double yellow card. He ran in the crowd. That's a booking.
Well, aye.
So you're talking about an inconsistency straight away for the referee. Then unless the rules changed there, then he jumped into the crowd, which means that's a booking. That's a yellow card instantly. It's similar to Abada taking his top off. Take your top off, it's a yellow card.
Did Abada get booked for that? I think he did.
Yeah, he did, aye. Yeah, he got yellow carded for that, mate. He was yellow carded for that because he takes his top off and does that with his name, like at the back. And it's Don Robertson, wasn't it, ref?
I'll talk about it if you're finished, mate, but I thought it was very
but no, Jenz looks very comfortable. You can see the assurement from Carter Vickers as well, knowing fine well he's got that backup as well. Might give him a bit more freedom now to sort of you know, try a bit more things and no find well that you've got a fair turn of speed with the two of them now. Carter Vickers isn't a slouch either. And no, it's, and then you've got that assurance of Joe Hart behind you, which, in my opinion, would make anybody better as a centre half. Knowing fine well, you've got that, the big man behind you. And then doing what he done yesterday, he bounces into the back of that boy and kind of nudges him away. Showed a different side to his game there. Big Joe, I've not really seen that for him. And you see the emotion on his face and what it means to these guys to get the tempo going and move things happening. Now, the full team, the group collectively, look as if they've got a bit more about them this season now. And look as if they know what the mission is, they know what the goal is. And they just start knocking down hurdles to get there.
I just think for me, again, it's somebody that we needed at a time where we were obviously crying out for another defender. Again, he's obviously been on the list. He was meant to be coming last year, didn't happen. I think the team's just about their JP in a sense. I maybe been greedy. I'd like another striker and maybe another midfielder. And on that, Jason, again, I don't know how true the rumours are. I don't know if it's just Twitter rumours or it is confident interest. But there's rumours about Ross Bartley at Celtic. Again, I don't really know how true it is. I'm just seeing it on Twitter. For me, I think if that was to happen, or it could be an option to get a deal like that done, it's an absolute no fucking brainer for me. Ross Bartley would be a tremendous signing. I know he's had his injuries, but it's not like fucking Aaron Ramsey. He played 20 odd games for Aston Villa, I think, last year. So it's not like he's not played a lot of games. He's played at a high level with Chelsea, and it's not like different with Ramsey was. Ramsey didn't give off Juventus for the last year or so. Bartley's still playing football, and he's 33 caps for England. He's only 28. If he did come to Celtic, again, I think you've got Newcastle, Brighton, teams like that, supposedly rumoured. So he might go to sign the Premier League. But to attract guys like that, you need to be in my opinion. I did say that if we didn't qualify for the Champions League, if we didn't win the league, I didn't think Jota and Vickers would have stayed. I think the Champions League's a massive, massive draw for any player. Because let's be fair, aside for Brighton and maybe playing Premier League, you're playing against phenomenal teams. But what you got to do with Brighton, you're going to maybe finish 9th, 10th, and you get a pat in the back, good season. But you might play, like JP says, you've got 6 minimum blockbuster games in Europe, and you've got four derbies, 4 Glasgow derbies to play against. But again, it's putting you on the pedestal again, and it could make his career go back to the top again. I'm not saying that he's using it as a stepping stone. It just might get the guy back playing football again. But I know this is so far fetched. It could be a lot of shite. But I'm just obviously saying, from my opinion, Jason, that if we could get Ross Bartley, if that could happen, it's a loan deal or a cut price, whatever it is, you'll be on a lot of wages. But I'm a big believer that if you want a player and you think he's going to enhance it and it's not going to affect the books too much, then go and get him. Like we did with Jota and Vickers, we paid the money and we got him. You pay for quality these days. I'm all for quality or quantity. You want squad depth and you want players, but I'm not wanting to have 10 guys who are not really going to do much on the park. But I'd rather sign 3 or 4 guys who are quality to come in and play and spend a bit more money on them. So for me, I don't know what you think, Jason, but for me, Ross Bartley would be an absolute standout. And if he did come up here, you've got to fit him in. If he's fully fit, I know we're saying McGregor's always going to be a standout, right? He's a captain, he's phenomenal, right? He could go and do a Ross Bartley job and play down the south, right? You've got Tate, O'Reilly and Turnbull, right? And still McCarthy's still there as well. But you've got to fit Bartley in. If Bartley comes up here and signs, you've
got Moy and
Moy as well. So, but for me, you've got to fit a guy like that in. You can let a guy like that go on the bench if he's no training well or he's no part of that game for that system. But if a guy like that turns up and he's fully fit and he's on his game, Jason, he walks it up here. I know we said that about Shane Duffy, etc., but Ross Barkley's a phenomenal football player. It's just, if he's fully fit, it's a no-brainer in my opinion, Jason.
No, I agree. And if Aaron Ramsey was the best signing in Scottish football since Paul Gascoigne, then what's Ross Barkley going to be? The boy has class. It's not quite worked for him at Chelsea, but he's a good player in that.
But to be fair, it doesn't work to a lot of people at Chelsea, but Chelsea sign a lot of boys, and it doesn't happen, no because they're no good players, it just, they loan them out, and it just doesn't work.
Club, do you know what I mean? Billy Gilmore, another prime example there, I know, it's, but if this Ross Barkley deal is going to happen, what's he laughing at?
Just when you said that era about Gaza,
oh,
I think that night on Sky Sports News when Big Boyd was sitting with Shea Given and he's giving it long there, but oh man, how quickly that aged, eh?
Aye, but I think if the Ross Barkley deal becomes available, I think we've got to jump at the chance. I do agree that the Champions League is a massive pool. It's the most elite competition in the world for me. Everybody watches the Champions League, and we are there again, not been mentioned. But listen, you don't get to see cats for England if you're a dud, in my opinion. And I think we said before they come on, I think you said 24 games they played last year for Aston Villa.
Give or take, it's Wikipedia, mate. I've seen it on, so it might be 28, it could be 30, I don't know, but I know he did play. He did play. Even
if he's played more than 20 games, he's been a regular starter for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the boy's quality, you've got to fit him in. Whether that means if they do sign him, then that would spell the end for McCarthy for me. Because you're going to have Turnbull, you've got Moy, you've got the midfield's going to be. But Ross Barkley has got bags of Champions League experience with Chelsea. I don't know if obviously they won the Champions League. I don't think he was in the squad, but he's still been in and around that where they've been in finals of Champions League. That's a good quality to bring in. That's the type of player we should be signing for the player in the Champions League. And if he comes up here, he'll stroll it, in my opinion. He'll absolutely walk it. And if the deal goes through and we get it done, it's a massive coup.
I don't know what you think, JP, but I know you're going to, fans will have again, this is just on hindsight. If it does happen, it's just we've seen it on Twitter. It could be a one lot of rubbish, but I think it's an interesting debate to talk about because some fans might not take him because it's not really worked out down there for him at Chelsea. He's went to obviously Everton and was it Everton he went to? On loan, save Everton, didn't he? Aston Villa on loan. Done all right with Villa, but injuries obviously. But I just think JP that, like Jason says, he's experienced. Similar to Joe Hart, loads of England caps. You don't play over 30 odd times for England if you're a dud. I know maybe Scotland wise, some guys in recent times have had caps when probably shouldn't have. But I think when it comes to England, you've got to be good, I think, to play with England. They've got a massive crop of players. There's guys like Jamie Vardy that were scoring goals every week and still couldn't get an England squad. So it shows you how strong that squad is. And to play 30 times for a nation, people, I know we give them a bit of jip England because it's always coming here and all that, but they're a good team full of very, very good, talented players. So for me, JP, if that was to happen and it could happen, I think you need to do it because even if it's just for one season, if it's going to improve you in Europe, if it's going to get that title out of the line, a player like that is definitely going to add to your squad.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got very good ability. All you need to do is know a wee bit about the football, and you know who Ross Barkley is. He's very well known. Kind of similar, Ryan. It's a lot of Celtic fans might not be happy with it because he's injury record and this, that, and the next thing. But all you got to do is look at Big Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
Big Sutton didn't do too well at Chelsea. He came up here and he strolled it. Scott Sinclair Scott Sinclair was playing at left back for Aston Villa to re-sign him. Come up here, look what he done against Hearts in his first game. After that, he was explosive. Burst onto the scene up here. Player of the year, loving life. I actually thought Scott Sinclair's Celtic career as a whole was very successful. As was Chris Sutton's. Two guys that obviously played with England, played down in England, English Premier League, had a lot of experience, played with good teams, and then they come up here and they look like world-class stars at the time when they came here because of, the level they were at, the experience, the training they've had, worked under good managers. And Ross is just the exact same. How true and how sort of reality the rumours are, we don't know at this point. I've seen them myself. It would be very interesting to see if Celtic Nans could do a deal like that. I think it would blow up in terms of the hype around it all and everything else. He would come up here with a big expectation on his shoulders. And if he could come up here and show his own ability and show his technicality and what he's capable of, and I think he'd be tremendous. I think he would help the squad. I think he would obviously, and he would light it up here because he's definitely talented. He's kind of maybe lost his way with Chelsea. Still at the tail end of his Chelsea days. I think he needs to go and find somewhere where he can set up home. And I don't know if he's got a family. I don't really know anything about him, so I don't know if he's got a big family or he's married or whatever. But he, in terms of his age, he's at a point now where he needs to get some steady footballing time. Would he get it every week up here? I don't know. A bit like he says, Ryan, you probably need to fit him in somewhere. I'm sure Ange would. Obviously, if it's him we're looking at, then it must be somebody that Ange obviously thinks could come up and make an impact. And certainly would be an interesting man, I'll tell you that, if we managed to get that deal done.
For me, mate, he's, as I say, I think he's phenomenal. The fact that he was playing that Chelsea team when he was fit, I'm sure, was it Conte? I think he played under. I might be wrong there, Jason. But I'm sure he played a bit under Conte. I'll actually. What's that? Sorry.
Conte no sign him.
He might have. I don't know. As I say to JP, I don't like JP. So I don't know too much about him. You've just seen him play with Everton and Chelsea, and you know he's a good player. Very good with Everton. He's very attacking going forward as well.
He scored good goals as well.
He's more a defensive player, so he would definitely fit our bill, Jason. But obviously, another thing I want to talk about on the Ross County game, Jason, was obviously the referee. I don't want to talk too much, but I just thought he was very inconsistent, like JP says. He didn't book Jenz for that. The celebrations. There was one or two nasty tackles, I thought, and he let them go. Didn't get Ross County bookings. Just seems to be when it comes to Celtic, guys can get, do you know what? You hit the first punch first. Get the first and second one for nothing, and then we'll maybe start talking to you.
Yeah.
That's the tackle on Greg Taylor and one on Matt O'Reilly. Fucking, it's 2 red cards.
I think it was the man on Taylor, but I think it was their right back. It
was a shocker. That was a shocker.
Mate.
Is that Conor Randall?
Aye, mate, he should have been off the park, by the way. I think it was Taylor, and it was. I'm screaming to tell you how. And he didn't even get booked for it.
No,
he didn't even get booked for it. But listen, VAR. I said this when they announced VAR last year, right? VAR won't stop bad refereeing. We're too consistent for the refs because I'm no full time. VAR isn't going to stop that. They're still going to be bad. But I do agree with you. Even against the Aberdeen game last week, there was a few tackles, and I'm like, how's that no a booking? Hatate's actually been injured because of one of them. They let the opposition away with a lot of stuff. But that one yesterday with that Randolph, was it Randolph, whatever his name was?
I think so.
He actually went off injured because he put a tackle in on, and I think we scored for it. Because he put a bad tackle and he done his knee.
Aye, that's right, aye.
And he still didn't get booked.
No.
It's.
Is that
I was watching that.
Ross County?
See that? See talking about referees up at Ross County. The game where Ralston scored the 96th minute, Starfield gets sent off.
Mm-hmm.
Right? See the first booking? Starfield gets booked for getting elbowed in the nose.
I know.
Starfield gets booked for getting elbowed in the nose. And then, because he moans and complains, the next tackle, he sends him off. Now, if you remember, right, he goes like that and elbows him, and Starfield's doing things like that. Like his nose was bleeding.
That was Willie Collum that night, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't Willie Collum. It was the older guy. It's not Willie Collum, but he sent a few. He sent a few other players. He sent a few.
I was sure that was Willie Collum, mate.
He sent a few other players off before. We've had a few run-ins with him before, but that one with Starfield, it's not. How can you get booked for getting out because he gets elbowed in the nose and it's a booking? And then again yesterday, and then that was I know.
Wasn't it Clancy?
No, it was against Ross County.
What's his name?
Ross County again last year.
Alan Muir.
Alan Muir, right?
Alan Muir.
Right. Ross County again last year when Kyogo scored his first game back. The boy puts a right bad tackle in the first 10 minutes, middle of the park. Doesn't get booked again. Come on.
The one last week at Celtic Park, the boy is at Ramadani or whatever his name is for Aberdeen. And he's had Tati right in the back, mate. That was shocking.
Aye.
And that was right in front of Nick Walsh, and he never done anything about it.
I'm telling you, right, do you know that this is going to sound nuts when I say this, right? But do you know the only referee that I think gives us stuff is Clancy?
And even then, he's hopeless.
And even then, he's rotten. But he's the only one that I can remember. I'll go back. I keep going back to this, right? See that Simonovic man? It's the Ibrox.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't a red card. You've got Douglas Ross standing along like that.
I know. JP says he thinks it's a red card. Right? I still to this day, I still stand by it.
Stonewaller boys.
I still stand by it. He was looking at the ball. He wasn't looking at him.
No,
he was going like that. It's never.
Go back. No.
For me, it's not a red card. It's not a red card. It's not a red card.
Go and look at it again. He takes a look to see what Morelos says, and then
it's called the dark arts, JP. That's what it's called.
I know, but you can't do it, man. See if that was your way about, right? Hold on a minute. See if that was your way about. What would have been happening?
You'd be claiming for it. Of course, you're going to be claiming for it. But I do believe.
Listen, that's a Stonewall red card.
It was where it was.
No matter whether it's judo, boxing, UFC, football, American football, cricket, baseball, no matter what sport that is, that's a red card all day long.
All right, Dougie. Red card.
What about when Kent swung for Brown? Nothing was done about it.
And I don't even need to work with the Tories, and I'm telling you that's a red card.
Fuck the Tories.
When Ryan Kent swung for Scott Brown at Celtic Park, nothing was done about that.
Says, mate, it just seems to be, Jason, that again, people might think I'm being biased. I think
he was booked for that, Jace.
Aye.
But that's a red card.
And no, it's a red card, but he was booked for that, though.
As soon as you lift your horns, it's...
Because it's said, what about chaff for it?
Just seems to be, lads, I think, we know, people think because you're Celtic fans that you're going to be tinted specs on, but I honestly did try my best to try and look at it fair and outsiders perspective certain things right. But it just seems to be that we seem to get 3 and 4 guys can kick us, and then like now I'll talk to you. Because that one for me last week, Aberdeen game, I think it was the number 16. Is that you're talking about, JP? Number 16.
By the way, he looks like a good player, I know.
He done 3 or 4 tackles to Tati, and he only get booked for his 4th one. And I'm like, but every tackle was fucking a ruffian. I'm like, he only booked a big boy Stewart because he gave him dissent about a foul, and then he booked him. I'm like, I'm wanting the referees to fucking perform and get help, but they don't help themselves sometimes, Jason. And like you say, VAR is not going to help poor performances. It's just going to add to maybe the game and help the game. But like you say, supposedly that goal yesterday from Morelos was offside. I've seen the videos yet. To me, it looks offside, but I didn't watch the game, so you can't comment until you see the full game and obviously full speed. But again, he looks like he's been enjoying his pre-season, but nothing gets said because he's no Lee Griffiths. Lee Griffiths gets slaughtered. Had a tea cake and Lee fucking slaughtered. He's back through pre-season overweight. Lee Griffiths says that's Neil Lennon losing the dressing room, this and that, but it's fine. I'm not going to mention again just because he scored and now Chris Boyd. For me, Chris Boyd should be sacked alone, Jason, for saying that he's the best player in Scotland. Come off it, man. He's a good player. He's a goal scorer, but he's nowhere near your Jotas, your Kyogos. Just no.
It comes back to it again. When they try to tell us that Kent is better than Jota, and I'm like, why? Come on! He done it in Europe. So did Jota. Do you know what I mean? Morelos, kind of right. The guy scores goals, right? But he's not a football player. All he does is stand there. Have you ever tried to watch Morelos control a football and hit a shot? He fucking first touches a clearance.
It's like man on FIFA. You pure tap it to hit the shot.
First touches a clearance. By the way, he's getting no football, and all he does is he just fucking scores goals, right? That's why Chris Boyd's saying because Chris Boyd was the same. Mm-hmm. But listen, Chris Boyd, why he still got a job on Sky's beyond me. The guy's just a clown.
he's a clown. I'll just hold it back a bit there. But
it's when they say but when they go, I mean, Tavernier's the best defender in the league. Fucking right, no bother. I turn it off when they start that. I can't.
See if you look at, I think you spoke as well, JP. See if you look at previous Glasgow Derby games. See if you look at their goals where they've lost it for. It's Tavernier's side all the time. I think
again, but you're listening to someone I was saying. They'll go, Jota can't get by Tavernier. I fucking beg to differ, right? I've never. Every time see that 3-0 game, he fucking ran on ragged.
I still think, JP, that 3-0 game, for me, it's still a massive marker, in my opinion, mate. I think that absolutely killed them that night. And I don't know if it will happen again this year, but see if we get a midnight game at Celtic Park again, how are they going to prepare for that mentally? How after gone there, JP, and let's be fair, they get their fucking knickers took down. They get absolutely knickers down and scalped. They get absolutely scalped rotten. So I don't know how that would go again, JP, but I really do believe it. That 3-0 game for me, I'm like you, mate. I still believe there's a I don't want to say a massive goal because obviously it's still tight, but I do believe there's a goal for JP in quality. Listen, they're still professionals, they're still a good team. Can't deny them, obviously, they've won last year, but when it comes to Scotland, JP, I really believe that we are champions and we are further ahead, and I think then some fans don't really want to admit it. Listen, it's only the second game of the season, you know what, a pre-tempt fate, but the way we are playing, and especially, it's a massive marker for me, JP, that game last year. It really is. I walked away from that game thinking, what did I just see there? I'm like, what the I had it in my head that it was going to be a comfortable victory. I did say it, 3-0, I say easy days, but until it happens, and the way it happened, I still think that's a back burner for him. I really do.
Aye, mate. I really think that was as you said yourself, a big marker. I think mentality-wise, it took a lot out of him. We showed a lot of flaws in them that night. Now, wind your necks back 13, 14 months ago, they were laughing at us.
Mm-hmm.
Laughing at us. Last season was going to be a canter, and as far as they were concerned, the players believed it was going to be a canter. we couldn't lay a glove on them the season before. And we totally destroyed them that night. Melon one way. A lot of the fans didn't know how to recover. Some haven't recovered. Again, after Christmas and New Year, we had a break. We came back and same again. They look like fucking Bambi on ice. They just don't know. And it was like they were trying to break in a new pair of rollerblades, but just couldn't ever get it going. And the wheels had just started running off because they weren't the right fit. Other things across the other side, we're going like a fucking steam train. Celtic put a foot to the flare after the New Year, and the rest of the league couldn't handle it. They couldn't cope with us. This season, we've just picked up where we've left off. And when that happens, Ryan, and you see that determination in a team that's labelled with quality right through it, it's very, very hard to match it, mate. When you try and bring in as many as 7 or 8 new signings, you'll try to get them in bed into your way. Some of them don't look as if they get a game of 5 a size with most teams in the fucking Power League. So some of them are dead lightweight. And others look like rabbits and fucking headlights. I was in a pub yesterday and there was a guy talking about the boy Yilmaz. Now, I've not seen the boy. I don't want to judge the boy. I've not really seen him. That was his first proper game with him. And somebody says, he got the lowdown after 2 guy about Scottish football, blah, blah, blah. And I heard a guy shouting, and this guy was a Rangers fan. I heard a guy shouting, well, I should have fucking learned how to play football at 2 guy. He says, because that boy's an imposter. So I was a Rangers, an ardent Rangers fan who couldn't go to the game yesterday because he was something had happened in his family. He ended up coming to the pub. And that's what happened. That's, and that's what he said to another boy in the pub about 5 feet away from me. And that was what he described Yilmaz as. Mark Catley's already been out already, and he said a go about Cholak.
What was it he said? It was basically pointless.
He says he couldn't hit a house with a bandolier.
I say it seems a waste of space, basically.
Waste of space. Essentially, it cost the club £42.5 million. If you look at it, he scored more goals at Ibrox last season than Ryan Kent. He wasn't even a Rangers player. So, you're laughing. That's the reality of it.
I know.
And they went away and signed him for 2.5. Last season, he cost them 40. So, as I say, their players, the new players haven't settled yet, but it looks at. And at a club like that, you can't take time to get guys to bed in quickly. Their guys came in last season and all hit the ground running straight away. They all made an impact right away. It looks as if they're going to take a wee while with it. If they are. Right now, early signs of what I've seen, some of it doesn't look promising. 1 or 2 of them, okay. Is 1 or 2 of them going to be enough? I don't think so. Because the other ones look as if they've lost a wee bit as well. So in terms of, we look at them because we're playing them soon. We're playing them in a couple of weeks' time. And the way they're playing and the way we're playing, if that's what's going to happen on the 3rd, they're in for a rude awakening again when they come to Celtic Park. And that's just the reality of it. I don't really see anything else. But of course, you're going to get all the ridiculous comments and idiotic, moronic predictions that we're currently hearing just now from the media, journalists. Some of these fools are stealing a wage because they're getting paid to talk utter shite. Some of them, when you get a job with a Tigger, they talk that much shite. Some of them, when they get a job with a big issue, they talk that much shite. And half of them, I wouldn't pay them to write a memo for me, let alone a story or a media outlet passage about somebody, this, that, and it. Honestly, they're stealing of age, some of them. Frightening. And as I say, Celtic just do what we do. We do our talking on the pitch. And just got them very well drilled with that. It looks like the media are only going to get to the team. Probably the team are probably laughing at some of it. And that probably feeds the team line as well. Because when you're written half constantly, mate, and you bounce it back with an answer, but it's an answer that they don't like, and they can't handle it. So they've got to make up more shite about you to have their wee, what do you call it? To have a wee 5 minutes of jollies or whatever you want to call it. It's funny. And we can afford now to sit back and watch it all happening, boys, because already we've no Champions League qualifiers. We've got 78 days between games now. We're resting, we're recuperating, we're ready to go again, we're fresh coming next. Lot of games. And then 3 weeks in Thursday past, 2 weeks this Thursday coming is a big one, Champions League draw. And then that again kicks his own, that kick-starts the season for us all together, lads. In terms of finances and everything else, players will start bouncing off the coaches again, because it's like Wednesday night you're playing Real Madrid, and you're going and you're bouncing off the coach, going and playing like Hearts and Dundee United, and obviously they're going to be in Europe as well, hopefully. So it's going to be an interesting season all round. Hearts potentially could be in the Europa League group stages. So yeah, maybe no play them many Sundays, but or many Saturdays, should I say? But you'll be bouncing off the coaches, and that feeds energy, guys, through the fans, through the club, through the players. You'll start to see Celtic flowing and glowing at the same time, because the buzz are what's coming in the next few weeks. It's going to be good. And then the media, as I say, they're running their mouth off now, and we'll just sit back and laugh, lads, because we know, if you know football, you know it's going to be around the corner. Because the minute you start writing the team off and writing players off and writing that off, they step up to the plate time and time again. And some of these fools need to learn quickly. And that's not the way to go about your business.
Because for me, like you say, you all know my opinion on the media. I think some people write good stories and good columns, and some people just need outed and don't always like to say their name sometimes a day, because I think sometimes it's got to be. And if doing this is a platform to sprout the truth, then I'll do it. But that at the weekend, Jason, saw the papers yesterday or this morning, the headline about Celtic basically rallying to win the game, and that's typical of what we're talking about here. Celtic didn't rally. Celtic dominated the game. Rangers, I've not seen the game. I've just gone by for what I've heard from people that I know, etc. It was a stuffy match for them. I don't know if it was, but I'm just going what I'm hearing. So why did they not say Rangers tough out a victory against Kilmarnock at Ibrox, but yet Celtic have to struggle? But Jenz got them back into the game. But they forget to mention the Abada goal. It was 3-1. It wasn't 2-1. Celtic won the game by 2 goals. It wasn't a struggle. It was maybe a struggle for 5 minutes because they got a goal when you're like, right, settled down here. Let's just think about what we're doing here. That was it. It's just bonkers, Jason.
Sorry, lads, just before you say, Jace, did they not say that the last time we went up?
Yes.
Dingwall?
I was a bit.
We beat them. I think it was 2-0. We beat them. I David Jota scored and jumped in the goalless.
And the thing was, is
they might have struggled that day as well.
I'm glad you said that, JP, because it puts on to Jason can obviously go back to it. when Celtic scored that goal with Alston, the paper headline was already wrote out. They put the tweet out already. Celtic basically dropped points. Oh, shut it, delete, because Celtic have just
wasn't
scored.
that one, man? It was a one when... It
No,
was a
it was
one
Alston,
just
was it
near the
not?
tail end of the season, aye.
Jota
Scored a header.
scored in like the 75th minute, and it was basically they were saying that again we scraped by. Look, the ones you're talking about are that far up Rangers' arse. You can smell the shite when you walk past the building, right? That's how fucking far up Rangers' arse.
What's that smell?
Aye,
Right.
Right. It's every time we go away from home, and we went away to Aberdeen away, and we were 2-0 up, and then we won 3-2. Again, it was Celtic capitulate and scrape by. Again, we had 80% possession. We just switched that for 2 goals, and they came back into it. You can't have 84% possession in a football match and then you scrape a fucking win. Can you win 3-1 away from home and scrape a win? But yeah, if Rangers win 1-0, it would be a Rangers dog. With the Livingston, 2-1, scored the 2 goals in 3 minutes, and it was Rangers comfortable against Livy. Fucking the Rangers were non-existent for the first half of that game. We were in control of the full game yesterday. And aye, but they're that far up Rangers' arse. It's fucking unbelievable, man, because they wanted to get back into it.
And I don't think people need to really ask who we're talking about. I think we all know what media outlet we're talking about. But obviously as well, on the game as well, we've only mentioned on JP, with 2 players, sorry. Tumbo, I thought was okay, didn't have explosive as he did last week, Aberdeen when he came on, but I thought O'Reilly was very comfortable again. Like John Hartson says, with 50 million, it might be a bit far-fetched, but I know what he's getting it. I know what he's getting it because if James Maddison, who I dare is a good player, if he's going to go for 40, 50 million, which guys like McGregor and O'Reilly going to go for?
One of them is going to go for 40, 50 million. Within one of them, we are going to sell a player for £50 million.
I think it'd be hard, mate, but you've got to ask a question with the board. Listen, don't accept shite, JP. You've got to ask the board, listen, none of this. Can I still believe we get a very good deal for Kieran Tierney, right? Obviously his injuries, it looks a very good deal now, but I still say
I think we could have get more for
that's what I'm saying. I still believe, JP, what Jason says here, I still believe we get a tiny wee bit robbed. But I believe Kieran Tierney, fully fit, is one of the best left backs in the world, without a shadow of a doubt.
Virgil van Dijk, when we get robbed by him and Hawks, we could have get more for Virgil van Dijk and all, because look what he went on today.
But I do believe, lads, that the stopgap of us selling players for horrendous value, I think it's stopping them. The fact that they've sold Big Shirley for that price.
I can't believe that. Then he goes out in his debut and gets sent off.
So, don't know what you think, JP, but I think O'Reilly's... That goes back to what I said when we first came on the pod. McGregor's... I think McGregor's here for his full career now, right? But if he was going to go now, you're talking at least 25, 30 million at least. I'm just saying, right? At least O'Reilly, you've Tumble, you've got... It's just... You've got every starting 11 player, in my opinion, JP, is worth at least 8 to 10 million for starting, at least. Every single player. Maybe take away Joe Hart because he's getting older. But every player, you've got to demand at least 8 to 10 million just to fucking talk to you.
Yeah, I would say so, mate. We've got a lot of value in the team now. As you said earlier on, a lot of boys are on long-term contracts as well. Initial point of certain media outlets and that. I don't know how anybody can take advice, have a guy eats cold beans. And honestly, I really don't. It's as bad as Mark McGee wanting to sit when he heat me, bollock naked, sitting in his house when he radiators on. Can you imagine?
Who walks into a house and goes, all right, love, put his own cold beans there?
Aye, just pull them into a bowl for me.
Nice and tomato.
Do me a favour, I'm going to go for a shower now because I'm just in for Clyde Super Scoreboard, so I'm going to go for a wee shower. There's a favour before, when you stick them in the bowl for me, stick them in the freezer now for 10 minutes. Make sure they're extra cold for me.
Nice and icy. Ice, baby.
Aye. Don't know, but like I say, anybody that takes advice off a guy, he's cold beans. There's a serious want with him. Not the guy with the beans, the one that takes advice. But the media but they're going to do what they're going to do. We've had years and years upon it, guys, and it's never going to change. Jason said it's never going to change anytime soon. We can afford to laugh about it now because it's become so blatant recently. And all you would need to do is look at it and you would see it. So, you said it earlier on yourself, Ryan, with the headlines. It was already out on Twitter, the Ralston before the goal. Celtic slumped to a draw and no, they didn't, because they've just won the game. Well, it was quickly deleted and had to be taken off, but it wasn't done quick enough because somebody got a holiday and started putting it around. So, but listen, like I say, we've had years and years, guys, and it's probably happened a lot longer before my time as well.
This goes back. This isn't just a new thing. This goes back.
No, this goes back centuries ago, mate. Years ago. But in terms of players, values and everything else, James Maddison, 50 million. So a few years ago, he was with loan at Aberdeen. He's worth 50 million now. Don't know it. And then you're looking at boys like Matt O'Reilly. Came from MK Dons. I don't see any difference between James Maddison and Matt O'Reilly.
There is a difference. One plays for Celtic and one plays for Leicester. That's the one's in the Scottish Prem. That's the difference.
One's called Matt, the other one's called James.
Because see, I know with that JP, right? See, if you play in the Premiership, right, you can add 25 million onto your fucking asking price right away because the league you play in. So,
I know that because Chris went to Newcastle for 25 million, and you're better with walking it with your dog. Because he is absolutely red rotten, man.
I think he's good.
Harry Maguire was at £80 million. Harry Maguire was £80 million fucking pound. I still can't get over that.
Hey, when he got a game with Paisley backdoor mud splashers, man. He's absolute panties. Chris Woods. You better be Chris Woods, your goalie.
I do think that Chris Woods, for Burnley, he done a job. But as you show, I think it was a panic buy for Newcastle. I had to get a striker. And they paid him. I scored a few.
He done a job, mate, but it was a bad job.
He done a job, mate. It's just a Burnley style of play, right, for the way they play, but money's killing football, man. And
did they want a £25 million transfer?
No. But that's when it goes to how, like for me, right, Edward, right, it's a prime example, right. If we sold him at his pinnacle at Celtic,
we should have.
Right. Looking back now, right, the 10-year-old season for me I've learnt a lot about when to sell players, right. Looking back now, we kept them, we're brilliant. But see, at that time, they were talking about 25, 30, whatever for Edward. See if that's the case about just say Kyogo, right? Just for talk's sake, that's a scenario, right? End of this year, we are going, we want to go further in Europe, we want to do this, but just see you get a 30 million bid for Kyogo, and you're like, what do we do here? Are we going to be able to pay the amount of money to get a quality player? Are they going to come? Do we sell them? But you probably need to go to what happens next year if he gets injured or doesn't play well? You've got to think about all this as a fan. You can't just go, well, we need to keep him, but you need to strike when the iron's hot, Jason. Yeah. And I believe that we still got good money for Edward, considering it was the last year of his deal, £17 million or whatever is phenomenal value considering the 1 year left of his deal. But if you sell him a season before that, you're talking Kieran Taylor money again, and that means if you don't, I think that's the big thing about us, Jason. If we don't win the league or if we don't qualify for Europe, if you sell a player for 25, 30 million, you're not missing out financially, you're just missing out on the blockbuster games and the prestige of playing in Europe, and it's a big draw for you. But if you sell a player for that price, this is maybe the first year, Jason, that we've not sold a player for massive money in the last how many years? every single year we're just about to scope Van Dijk, Foster, Armstrong, Hooper went, Edward, Ayer. Just about every year we've sold one or better players for decent money, apart from I think 10 season as well. So it shows you as well, Jason, that the club, like JP says, nothing's getting out of Celtic when it comes to bids now and hearing things, because like the Aaron Moy thing was a pinnacle of what Ange talks about, and I keep saying, never believe a manager tells you anything in a press. Never, don't believe that a guy's injured or a guy's no fit or a guy's no coming, because football, anything can change in 2 seconds. Football can change like that. He says Aaron Moy, and I don't think we're going to sign anybody else. 2 days later, he's signed. It just shows you, Jason, that in football, like we're talking about Ross Barkley, he thinks he might be a lot of shite. In 2 days' time, he could be doing Parkhead. I know that it might not happen at all. But
I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if the Ross Barkley deal happened.
I would be surprised if it was. I would be surprised because of how much money he's on and obviously the player, but I wouldn't be surprised if it coming alone, because we've had high-profile ones like Bellamy, Robbie Keane. What's that?
Well, he'll win about $100,000 a week, wouldn't he?
I'd probably say give or take maybe with that bracket, he won't have decent money because he signed a big contract with Chelsea.
I would reckon they're saying between 70 and 100 anyway, definitely.
So you're going to need to pay half of that, aren't you? Do you think Celtic's going to pay 50?
See the way I see it, JP now, Jason, sorry. The way I see football now is, but like, you can still get wee gems and you can still pay like 10 grand and 15 grand and still get a good player. But see, these days now, you kind of pay for the quality. It's the same in life. If you go to a good steak restaurant, you pay for what you pay for now, in a sense. So I think that's the same with football players. Obviously, doing the English market's fucking, you pay 80 quid for 80 million for Maguire. You know that's ridiculous, but you're not getting that quality of player. You're paying over the odds. If Maguire was £20 million, you'd be like, do you know what? That's a decent signing. He's all right, he'll do a job. But it's a price tag that fucking full. And I think, Jason, that must be a big thing for players. It must play in their minds. But fucking, I think Jack Grealish is superb, right? He's not £100 million player, but that must be in his heat. Like, I'm a £100 million player. That must be hard to have that in your nut everywhere you go.
Aye, but I also don't think that Jack Grealish suits Man City's style now. I don't know. I think when he played at Villa, that's the way you should play him. But I think that 100 million, I think these players don't ask for the price tag, by the way. It's not as if I went, oh, well, I'm not moving unless I go for 80 million. They just went to rest. They just went, name your price, and they said that, and they went, right, cool. But I think Celtic, the board sort of modernised a wee bit. I think since Lowell stepped down for that role, I think Lowell was, it would be total speculation, but I think he was sort of like, well, if we get money for him, then he always just looked at the profit side. We've made such and such on him, but I think the board are like, no, we don't really need to sell. No, we can hold on to them. Do you know what I mean? I think we did sell Edward a season too late. I think if we'd sold him the year before, the year see the year Clues put us out. That's the year. That's when we should have sold Edward, because I think he wanted to go then.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon it would have been a record fee. I reckon we could have got about 35 million for him.
I know he's no, but I think he started the last 2 or 3 games with Palace. I think he's looked a bit better, but I believe that guy's quality. I really do. For what I've seen him at Celtic Park.
Ryan, look how long it took for him to settle in at Celtic, but before he actually started playing football for us.
Edward, it took my
few games against Hamilton.
Aye, but yeah, I know what Jason's saying. It was maybe
regular. He wasn't starting every week.
It was the Rangers game really won it. It kick-start from it. That was really the game for me that really kicked that game.
He scored a hat-trick against Fulham before that at Parkhead.
But I think for me that's when I thought, right, JP, this is Edward. That goal for me was phenomenal, man. That is, again, that's another goal I think doesn't get talked about enough.
And he became a regular scorer against them as well, because he scored 2 against them in the night. The day we beat them 5-0.
No, that was one. Was that one?
No, Parkhead. It was sun. The sun was beaming down in Tappers.
I was just start of the season.
Lustig took a Polish hat off the boy.
Oh, aye. We've bet them 5-1 that many times. It's hard to remember what one you're talking about. Do you know what I mean?
I know, and exactly. But by the way, and see what you're saying there, Jace, we're not even being cheeky with that. We've beat them with that. We've took 5 off them that many times in recent years that it's kind of hard to go, I remember that one, remember that, because there's that many of them.
See what they're saying about when they stopped the season, they stopped the 10. Right? We were absolutely fucking horrendous that year, and they still didn't embarrass us as much as we embarrassed them in that 3-0 game. I don't care what any of them says, what any of them will say.
No, they get apps.
There was one of the games that season. I can't remember what one it was. They took 4 off as at Ibrox.
There was a Scottish Cup game, is it no?
Was it the one the 4 scored against us?
I'm sure it was a Scottish Cup, mate. Sure it was.
And we were.
Because I'm sure
it could have been double figures that day, man.
Was it 1-0 or was it 1-0?
I still stand by, right? See if COVID and all that didn't happen, that fucking season wouldn't have happened. And we
went down to 10 men. McGregor got sent off, then Big Edward equalised.
Mm-hmm. That guy's went down south, and he's getting fun out because before COVID kicked in, we were due to play them at Celtic Park. Remember, they get beat at Hamilton the week before.
That was the day my daughter was born. I know we were due to play them.
See if we had played them and we had battered them, which I think we would have, he'd have been off.
Sure maybe not.
At the time, I think he'd have been sacked, mate. I think you're right, Jess, because I think they were on a bad run of games then. I'm sure Livingston beat them that week, the week before.
It was
Leverkusen hammered them, and then we were going to play them.
Hamilton Accies beat them at Ibrox. It was Hamilton Accies that beat them.
Hamilton it was, so it was, mate. Hamilton. We were playing Livy. We drew it, Livy.
We were 12 or 13 points ahead at the time as well.
I think we were, aye.
He was getting the sack.
And it just shows you now, but I've said this, we'll mess this the last bit and then we'll call it a day, lads, but I do believe, Jason, that Michael Beale was the brains behind it all. I've said it all along. Listen, you can't knock that guy's coaching ability, what he's done. The guy's phenomenal and he's trying to keep priority. I think he'll do all right. But I think Aston Villa should have got him. Gerrard, for me, has always been the name. He's been the face. Listen, he's won 1 out of 9 here. For a Rangers manager, that's horrendous. That's horrendous. Doesn't matter if you've no spent money or Celtic or ahead of you. For a Rangers manager to win 1 out of 9. And the only reason they won it was, listen, you can't look at it too much. They went undefeated and they won the league. Brilliant. You can't knock that back. For them, it's brilliant. For us, it was horrendous. But it took us to have a fucking free-for-all a season for that to happen. And like you have said, if COVID, God forgive it, if that didn't happen, I know for a fact Tim was won 110% because that was a downfall of Celtic that season. As soon as that ended, like Neil Lennon says, when he came back, it was just a total different mood. And you can understand that for what happened. And we've all seen, like we've said, JP, it's a massive, people think team spirit is a massive thing. I know they do well here, but Barcastle's like, I came here and I couldn't go with my teammates. I was on separate changing rooms. Nobody could show me about the city and all that. That's a big thing. But I do believe, JP, that I think Aston Villa fans are starting to find them out now. There's not a chance that guy's in a lot of Belgium. Not a chance if he's going. If you can't do Aston Villa, how can you walk in and take your probably one of the best managers that England's ever had in the last 20, 30 years? Not a chance, JP.
Gary Neville has got a better percentage win record at fucking Valencia than but he has currently got at Aston Villa.
It's the same, 35%.
See, the thing is, see if you look at his squad, he's got some team, right? He spent a lot of money. I agree with you, right? I actually said that today. Michael Beale was the brains behind that.
Oh, 100%.
He's getting fun out, majorly getting fun out. And do you know what I mean? Because it was the trophy that he won, because he stopped the 10, it automatically put him up into that status of the legendary status. Fucking nonsense, man.
He's not a legend, Rangers. He done well, stopped the 10. That's it. A legend, JP, like Jason says, a legend's at Celtic's Martin O'Neill. Rodgers, because of the way he left,
still a legend.
He'll never be classed as a legend by fans, but he won fucking trebles. A guy at Celtic, if you won a treble, you're fucking up there. It doesn't matter. In my opinion, we all know what he done, and we'll never forgive him. But I've calmed down now, JP, and I've still said that guy was phenomenal.
He'll be away for Leicester soon enough, by the way.
I think he's the way he's talking. I think he's off. I don't think he's getting back. Similar to JP is what I say. Similar to us. I've said it to you before. His last transfer one day, he get fucking robbed. He gets toe jam and fucking all the buck. He get basically spent the money for loan deals, and I think was it Clement, was it Sheridan that he signed? It was his last one day.
He get that boy for PSG and all that.
Aye, where? He's Timothy Weir. He's one day was shite, JP, and maybe they're similar to Leicester. He's not getting back now, and he's like, you know what? I need to go.
Aye, doesn't look good for him. He's obviously lost his captain recently as well. Schmeichel Kasper, he's a bit niche. No, it's not looking good. Looks as if he's not getting replacements, and I don't think they've signed a player.
They're losing.
He's going to have to promote youth to the team, which might not work out. I actually thought they were quite poor last season in terms of some of the results, coming from winning positions to then same again today, we're winning 2-0, like comfortable. Brentford get back at them and ends up 2 each.
Did it finish 2 each?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
So
2-0 the last guy check.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was a few times last season when they were winning comfortably as well and lost it. They were in the top 4. People saying, right, go to get the Champions League up, maybe change it. They fell out of the top 4. That was a couple of seasons in a row. I've done that now under Rodgers. I know what other boys are saying that he's been successful and stuff, but you can only do too much. When your hands are tied all the time, you're not really going to be able to take them to the next level. And I think you maybe see Brendan doesn't strike me as the type of man that will stand for that too much longer. And I think he might need to move on to pastures now. I think anybody would be lucky to have him. I'm kind of over. It still sits sore with me because of the way he done what he done. It's got to be hard to forget that one, to be honest. He left us with bare bones, a fuck all. Tried to take my whole background team away with him as well. We were 4 days between games between the 2 Edinburgh sides. One was a cup game, the other one was a league game. Two important games of the season. I thought, you're going for another treble. Why be such a hurry to walk out the door? Things might not be nosy from him in the house. Fine. You still don't do what you do. He goes down and does his first interview with Leicester. He says he had to remove the emotional attachment. See, if you're a big Celtic fan, the way you fight yourself up to be the last couple of years, you can't remove that emotional attachment to that club. Not a chance. Right away, I was always sceptical of how deep a Celtic fan he really was. That night, he's trying to sell the book, and he mentions a story about Danny McGrain. A couple of weeks down the line, Danny McGrain comes out and says that wasn't true. The way he says it wasn't true. That never happened. Why is Rodgers saying that then? You don't do that with people who are true legends at the club, great servants for Celtic, and Rodgers just shakes all the tap on him to tell a story to try and sell his book. That's, for me, that things like that don't sit nice, and they don't sit nice for the support. Things have moved on again for there, so we're long gone by that now. Fine. What he does at Leicester's, I couldn't care. I'm not a Leicester fan, so whatever happens with Leicester, I'm not really interested. Slippy G, he's going to get found out. I said it for day one. He's never a football manager in your life. He wouldn't get a job on chat manager, let alone a real manager. I believe Mr. Ian Beale, as he's called, he was the brains behind the outfit. He's moved on now. Mr. Gerrard, though, I think he'll be found out. A potentially poor result for him yesterday, considering he's been heavily backed in the transfer market.
Bournemouth just promoted or not?
They'll just start to sign a few players, but that's a poor result for Aston Villa. Couple of more results like that, My old brother Pedro will be back on the phone shouting about the dogs barking, caravans will be moving. And I think Mr. G will be finding it very tough. He was sweaty under the collar. I suppose the only thing he's got looking forward to now is he's been able to change his daughter's name back to Lourdes, which has been good. No doubt he had to change her name when he was up here to something like Stephanie or something, I don't know. Because he certainly couldn't have had a present at a big house, walking about with a name like Lourdes. People like Jimmy Bell cutting about the dressing room, knowing what his beliefs are and everything else. And obviously, you've got a lassie walking about with a name like Lourdes, walking about a big house with the freedom and everything else. I don't think that would have been done too well. So, you know, I do think Mr. Gerrard will find it very tough in order to maintain the standard in the English Premier League. As for people saying he's an ex-Liverpool manager, stay off of drugs. So I can say that's why drugs are bad for you, because they make you hallucinate, make you talk shite, make you eat cold beans, make you do lots of daft stuff that you maybe shouldn't do.
Too much of that.
Turn all your heating off, sit in the house bollock naked.
Would you call it tablets? Delude them all, innit?
Delude them all, yeah. A lot of the GPs need to have a look at themselves before dishing them out. Look at your clientele you're giving it to, and think about the way you hand prescriptions over, because you're handing prescription over. It's a very high intensity drug. Does a lot of bad things to the brain. Makes you say silly things. Makes you look silly. Makes you shout silly things. Makes you sing silly songs. And overall, turns you into a silly person. So I would think very wisely about asking your GP for the kind of tablets.
I don't think he's getting a liberal job. Definitely not on this evidence. We interesting thing I was thinking there, Barry, would it surprise you that if Rogers get the Aston Villa job? No, because I think it would. That'd be actually a decent fit for him, to be honest with you. I generally thought he would. If they go to Man U job, I think he would suit Man U to a T. But obviously that club in the news just get down that downward spiral. For me, Jason, obviously for Celtic overall, the weekend I thought was really good. Considering obviously away from home and basically had to basically get back in front again. Again, overall looking good to next week again. Another week of training. Hopefully, maybe interest for players might heighten up and players leaving. But overall, mate, your overall consensus of the week?
Dominant. Didn't struggle. I'm just really happy with how we're looking in it. As I say, with earlier on, we're looking fit, we're looking sharp, and we'll get very good depth. And bring on Kilmarnock next week.
I think it'll be a tough game next week. Again, it's they parks are a level as well. When you play on the parks, it's like Livingston, it's a level. Don't care what anybody says, you can be the best player in the world, but they parks are horrible, man. And they parks suit the way they want to play. It's always it is a tough game there, but with the park. But again, I do believe that they will go there and win. But yourself, JP, obviously overall, mate, good performance, get the 3 points, basically top the league again, looking good. So more positive going forward. Aye,
that's the one I was looking at the run of games we've got, and that's the one I was kind of, my feelings there, because of that, right? The time of the kick-off as well. It's bang on 12 o'clock as well. Sun Sky, thankfully, because I thought we disappeared from well with that game yesterday. But no, as I say, and it's always a sticky one when you go there. The Kilmarnock never really offered very much yesterday. Thought they were very poor overall. They look more physical for what I can see. That's about all I've maybe added in terms of look at Ash Taylor. There's another big boy at the back, I know, I can't mind his name. Right back, big lumpy lad as well. Lafferty's still there. I think a big boy, is it Shaw?
Ollie Shaw.
A big lump of a boy, I know.
Fine wee signed as well. Again into Alan Power. He's back as well.
Yeah, aye. He just runs about swinging at things, mate. I actually think he should have been a golfer. He swings up many times. I don't know. He'd be good at one of the swinging parties because he swings all day. As I say, tough game. Always has a tough game going to Rugby Park, mate. And but like I say, our Celtic team, I says at the beginning of the night, they seem to have a lot of answers, a lot of firepower. Could be a game for Giakoumakis to come in and start. Could be a game for Ralston to come in and start. A wee bit more physicality. Beef us up a bit. Maybe Aaron Moy. Could make a couple of changes. Well, no hundreds, because it'll just help the team to stay fresh. Possibly see Hatate coming back into the team. Who knows, depending on how long he's going to be injured. I think, as we said on Friday, it doesn't look as if it's going to be a long-termer, so, which is good. But no, as I say, moving forward, just want to see us picking up points, right? Keep the pressure on other teams, try and get a gap, and let's see if we can win as many games as we can between now and when we start playing in the Champions League.
I think that will be obviously you still need to win the games in hand in Scotland, but I think maybe after next week that's when we start looking at possibilities to draw and get the juices for who we're going to get, because let's be fair, we're there. We're not qualifying, we're there.
Yeah.
We're draw. We're not making headlines about it, we're there and that's it. So I do believe I'm the same as you, mate. Everyone's all those in the garden at the moment, but we're on football, one bad result, and that's a crisis. So we just dare talk the part, we take as it comes. Again, if everybody likes the content as well on YouTube, click your wee bell for notification we go live. We're on Twitter as well. Me, Jason, and JP are on Twitter. Give us a wee follow and the page as well. Type in the name of the podcast on YouTube and Twitter, and we're also on TikTok for wee jazzy videos. If you like shite videos, I'm your man for that. But again, lads, all positive in the garden. Have a good Sunday night and take care. Hail, hail.